Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is RandoGEEK. All right, so the results are in. Article's been out for a while. I'm late with this. It is what it is. Better late than never. Interesting for me to talk about. So I want to talk about it. I want to address it. And for those of you that haven't heard about this, really cool. If you did, hopefully you'll still find my opinion on it, my version of this story interesting. So Ookla's latest speed test report. Obviously, we're seeing that T-Mobile remains the king. Now, whether or not you have faith in Ookla's testing, whether or not you agree with it, a lot of us are feeling like, it could be a little rigged. It's watered down now. It's not as accurate. This could all be true. As with anything, these are just kind of like examples. We need some kind of idea, right? To have an opinion on networks, to get a vibe of what's really going on and how they perform. Nothing is 100% accurate, right? These are just all different facts calculated that kind of give us a view of what's really going on. But, at the end of the day, none of this really matters if the service doesn't work good for you. If Ookla says T-Mobile is the Mac Daddy of speeds, but you're getting 2 megabytes down in your home, T-Mobile may not be the best network for you. So it doesn't really matter what others are saying. At the end of the day, when we talk about this, it's just, something we follow. And, at the end of the day, you really want to have the carrier that you think is the most competitive, that's going to be the most, provide the most best performance for you, especially if you travel a lot, right? That's really important. That's when these results can really come in and help you out. If you're someone that works and you travel a lot, like that's part of your job, you're a salesman, or you just, whatever it is you do that requires you to be on the road, a truck driver or something, and you're constantly on the road, you visit different cities. Maybe you're in a very rural community. Maybe you're in a very crowded, congested city. All these things will certainly matter at that point because you're going to face challenges that a regular person that works maybe a mile away won't have to face, or they have access to pretty much all carriers and they can piggyback off of each other if your main service isn't working, etc. But otherwise, these can be very helpful tools, giving you an idea of what carrier works best universally, and that might be a carrier that you want to choose. Otherwise, none of this may matter to you, and at the end of the day, you're going to just choose who you like just because that's how it is, and that's okay too. At the end of the day, this is your money, so you have to go with whatever carrier you think is best for you, offering the best prices, offering the most competitive perks, right? So I have to address that because this is not the law, okay? This is not the law. And it's important for you to know that at the end of the day is really about what carrier is best for you, that suits your needs, offers everything you want, pricing, perks, and you're satisfied with it. That can be customer service too. If the customer service is trash, you don't want to go with them. So with that being said, I know that's a long intro, but we have to clear that out the way because it's important you guys have to know this, okay? No one can tell you what service is better for you, not any test result. At the end of the day, your experience does matter the most. That doesn't mean it's the best network, right? That doesn't provide evidence that it's the best network, but it means that as a consumer, what works for you is what matters because you're the consumer. If they say T-Mobile is the best in Oklahoma, but it ain't good for me where I am, what does that really matter, right? What does that really matter? But let's take a look at the results because I know many of you don't find T-Mobile's network worthy, but then there are many of you that have great experiences with it. All right, so this probably starts to sound like a broken record. T-Mobile continues to record top scores in almost every wireless report released. The latest comes from Ookla, who collected data from January to June of this year. So this is recent. So we're looking at that the Un-carrier dominates the U.S. wireless space in all areas. Since this happens so often, there's no need to drag this out. Here's what you need to know about T-Mobile versus Verizon and AT&T in the latest wireless report. So Ookla looked at 6 key areas to rate U.S. wireless carriers in, and T-Mobile was the top in 5 of the 6. T-Mobile took the crown for the fastest mobile network, fastest 5G network, most consistent network, video experience, and consumer sentiment. Verizon won a single category for gaming experience. They usually do very good in gaming. I noticed that, Verizon. Usually, whenever these results come out, they do always dominate in that. And that can be very important because that requires a high quality network. Gaming uses the most data, the most quality of data as well. Like it's consistency, giving you all the best streaming possible, right? So that's not something to laugh about. That's a good category to win. In the speeds categories for overall and 5G speeds, it's not really close. They're saying T-Mobile is still crushing Verizon and AT&T. So below we have the graph, which is the overall speed score, where T-Mobile posted speeds of 205 megabytes per second, while Verizon and AT&T barely reaching the 100 megabytes per second mark. They're saying it's slightly closer in 5G speeds between T-Mobile 228 megaseconds and Verizon 191 megaseconds, while AT&T is falling further behind 131 megabytes per second. Now, that's understandable, that's agreeable, but Verizon's catching up, all right? We know that T-Mobile has had a massive head start, and they're continuing to expand. Remember, every merger that they acquire, right, takes them 10 steps further. So we do have to calculate all this. We have to be fair about this. All right. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. So here we go. 205 megabytes, 205.98 for T-Mobile, 112.28 for Verizon. And then lastly, we have 107.77 for AT&T. Now, keep in mind, AT&T is the least hungry wolf of the pack. They're the ones doing the least, putting the least amount of effort and money into their 5G network. We know that fiber has been a major focus for them. So 5G is no longer their concern. Their concern is where the money is, and they found that their money is mostly coming from their fiber network. So we got to keep that in mind. Verizon now and T-Mobile, a lot of their money comes from their wireless side. T-Mobile mostly wireless, all wireless mostly. Their home internet is doing good. It's growing. And their fiber network is kind of just getting started. But wireless is where it's at for T-Mobile. Verizon's in the middle. They're kind of getting love from all areas. They're getting their Fios network, their home internet area, and then, of course, wireless. And so we have to take all this into consideration. T-Mobile's main primary focus is wireless. But now they're also concentrating more on the home internet. So anyway, when it comes to consistency, Ookla looked at how often networks were able to meet or exceed 5 megabytes per second down and 1 megabyte per second up. So they're saying that goes to T-Mobile. They did 86.6% of the time. Verizon did 83.3% of the time. And then AT&T was around 80%. Saying maybe most importantly, in the consumer sentiment segment, T-Mobile scored a rating of 3.73 out of 5, which was the highest among all U.S. carriers. All right, so very good. As we can see here, consistency, 86.6 for T-Mobile, 83.3 for Verizon, and then 80.8 for T-Mobile. All right, so they're saying that moving on from the general scores and ratings, Ookla also compiled data from states and cities to let you know which carrier might provide the best overall experience for your location. In states, T-Mobile posted the best scores in 45 of them, as well as the District of Columbia. Verizon won in North Dakota, while the results were too close in South Dakota, Maine, Vermont, and Alaska for a winner to be determined. AT&T won nothing. For cities, Ookla looked at 100 of them, and T-Mobile won in 73. Verizon was able to win in 6 cities, with AT&T taking the crown in one single city, which was San Francisco, and then 20 cities were too close to call. And then I guess there's a link here. Let's see. Yeah, there's a link here with more information on that, and I guess you can kind of, there we go. There's some of the cities here. All right, this is what we wanted to look at. So Illinois, download speed of 163, Rhode Island, District of Columbia, Nevada, right? Utah, Minnesota, New Jersey, Arizona, North Dakota. And then, of course, this is like who was dominant in those areas. T-Mobile, T-Mobile, T-Mobile. We can see T-Mobile basically took the cake. So this is very important because we got the cities to back it up. Like, it's not just, they're not just saying 100 cities and we don't know what cities. So this is important to know that T-Mobile is apparently killing it in these cities. All right. So this is based on, testers that have allowed Ookla to track their information and use it for these types of reports. Washington. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, I guess the results don't lie, but again, it's all debatable or not, whether or not you think Ookla is any good. Are they a shill for T-Mobile? Look, only they know. But I think it's important to know that T-Mobile's network is respectable. It seems to be getting better. Okay. Much better than it's been a year ago. We're starting to see more and more advancements, and we can't shit on Verizon. I'll say it just like that. We can't do that. That's not what we're doing. We're going to recognize that Verizon's network has been getting greater consistently. There's been a lot going on. The build-outs are real. And for many, even though these speed tests are pointing in the direction of T-Mobile's favor, your experience with Verizon may be much greater than any report out there. So it is important to know. And speed tests are not everything. Real life demonstrations, real world scenarios, you streaming a video using Verizon's network in 4K, you streaming a video on T-Mobile's network in 4K, you doing your basic everyday necessities, streaming music, whatever it is you do, gaming, whichever carrier is pumping better speeds, more consistency, quality of those speeds, and overall functionality of the network for you is the network you go with. Again, like I started this video with, none of that other stuff matters if it doesn't work good for you. So this is basically giving you an idea that if you were to choose a network that has the best, most consistent speeds based on the results of Ookla, you might think T-Mobile is your best choice. That's not necessarily true, but we're talking about it because some people shit on T-Mobile as if they're horrible. Now, for some, they are. Certain places, T-Mobile can be difficult to use. They wouldn't be considered your most reliable choice, if you ask me. Maybe that's starting to change, though, right? I don't travel enough that I can give you test results from every city and state. I'd be lying if I said that I do that, right? If I could, I'd be out there testing them, right? I'd be doing all that, but that's not what my occupation allows me to do. And I just don't have time for that, right? I'm a busy person just like most of us. But we take all this with a grain of salt. It is interesting to see how Ookla keeps giving respect to T-Mobile, so there might be some truth in this, right? We got to believe that there got to be some truth in it. But either way, impressive for T-Mobile. I think we'll see more of this. I think we're going to see more of this with the acquisitions. If they are continue to merge with US Cellular using their towers to reach more customers, I think we'll hear more positives. If they continue to build out, we'll hear more positives. But, don't sleep on Verizon. They're still building out. We might not hear so much of this hype from AT&T because they're kind of like just chilling in the back. They're doing what they're doing. They're keeping the quality good, but they're kind of out of the race. All right. They've been out of the race. We've talked about this before. They're out of the race. They're just kind of just in the background now, but they're there. They're functioning. They did way better than we anticipated. Fiber played a big role. Postpaid accounts are doing good. I don't know. So it's tough. It's tough to say in 2024 who your best bet is, other than you got to measure your experience. If you're that concerned, you don't know who to choose, you test them all. That's what we do. We test them all. We find the best solution for us, the best price, best perks, best offer. We go with that. It's okay to like them all. But at the end of the day, you're going to have your favorite. You're allowed to have your favorite. But don't just choose it just because of the name. Make sure it works for you and it's worth your money and your time. Anyway, that's all I got for you. That's my spin. If you guys have any questions, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this test. How much accuracy do you think it brings? And at the end of the day, which carrier works best for you? Comment down below. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.